Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be talking about what we watched in quarantine. So this is Jake.
Hi, I'm Jake.
And we have kind of spent like all of quarantine together. So there hasn't really been much to do during the pandemic, so we've kind of just been inside together, which has resulted in a lot of TV and movie watching. We have a watch list that we have been making our way through, so today we're going to be talking about some of the things that we have watched together. And I am super excited to say that today's video is kindly being sponsored by Magellan TV, which is a documentary streaming membership. I have always really liked documentaries. They're probably the largest amount of nonfiction content that I consume, and I find them to be a really entertaining way to learn new things.
Yeah, I love documentaries. I'm a big fun facts guy, so I learn most of them through documentaries about stuff I'll never actually see or experience myself.
Magellan TV actually has a huge collection of different history documentaries and docuseries, but they also have a lot related to true crime, science, and space. I recently watched The Family Inside the Manson Cult on Magellan, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The Manson family has been a huge point of interest for me for many years, and though I've seen a lot of different documentaries on this topic, I loved the recreations and dramatizations from the events of that time as they were woven in between interviews with an actual former family member who was there.
Yeah, I like Magellan too. Their focus on documentaries means they're finding this more diverse, interesting stuff from all around the world, instead of things that just seem like an afterthought that you kind of find elsewhere.
I actually reached out to Magellan myself to see if they wanted to work together because I found them really unique and thought many of you guys would enjoy their service. So please redeem your free trial down below and watch some cool stuff, because doing so will directly help support my channel. So we have a really long list.
It's a lot.
And it's like one we've also narrowed down from what we've watched and actually
I keep remembering stuff that I want to put on it.
The first thing in our list, which I feel is like the first thing we really watched together, was Schitt's Creek.
I love Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek so much.
Yeah, Schitt's Creek is a favorite show of Jake's that you had been like recommending to me nonstop.
Yeah, I recommend to everyone. That includes you.
So because you like so sold Schitt's Creek to me, why don't you give like a quick synopsis so people know what we're talking about?
I would love to. Okay, so this ultra affluent family of like the Kardashian level, fictional living in real America, is suddenly broke. And they end up in this really like down-to-earth middle America town called Schitt's Creek, and they're forced to acclimate, and it's just absolute hilarity. And they suddenly, these really shallow people become very real. It's beautifully written and touches on a lot of incredible issues with people and relationships, and love and turmoil. It's great. I
didn't really know what Schitt's Creek was about before you, and I didn't even know if it would be a show that I would like. It didn't even really occur to me that it was a comedy either. That was something that I didn't know about before we watched it, and then it was just so funny that I could not stop watching.
I love how Alexis says it, where it's almost like David with a T at the end.
Ew, David.
That's very good.
Thank you.
And then I love how Moira, his mom, says it. David.
I definitely have a little bit of Alexis in me.
A little bit of Alexis. I have a lot of David in me.
You really do have a lot of David.
I have a lot of David in me. Everything is, I feel his franticness all the time.
Yes. And it was also nice because we got to watch the last season together. So you had seen like the first 5.
Yes.
And the 6th one just recently came out. So we got to experience that for the first time together, which was really fun.
It was so good. So heart-wrenchingly beautiful and gorgeous and happy and just...
The ending was really satisfying too.
Yeah.
I think that was my big takeaway from the last season. It's like an ending that makes you feel like complete and happy to move on once the story's done. Yeah,
you feel super satisfied. You're very happy for everyone, even if the ending at times doesn't feel like what maybe you wanted. It's just you're content for them, and you really fall for these people. You really love them in this show. Now we have what feels like 3 pandemias ago. It's like an Olympiad, a pandemiad. Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Tiger King feels like a fever dream. Like, did it really happen?
Tiger King was a complete break from everything for about a week, I think, where everyone just dropped what was going on.
It dropped at like the most perfect time. Like this was when everyone was like really settling in for the first time. So what did you think of Tiger King?
Okay, well I don't like how these cats have been treated in this.
Of course.
For sure. That makes my heart hurt. I think this is all a different variety of messed up people all at once is the way I'm kind of seeing it.
It was just so bizarre how like each episode just like another 10 levels were added to the story. Like where it starts is not where it ends.
It starts as a train wreck and then you think, well, I guess this train's wrecked.
Yes.
Then the train catches on fire. And then a plane hits the train.
And then the train gets robbed.
And then there's an earthquake and the train's swallowed up.
I thought it was just wild. Like, these people don't feel like real people. But they are.
That's a great way to put
I definitely feel like, you know, in documentaries are dramatized a lot of the time. But the characters were just so compelling. And you almost hated them all. They were not likable.
It's really hard to like people in that.
But you could not stop watching. You couldn't look away. The real question here, though, is do you think Carol Baskin killed her husband? That's what everyone wants to know.
All right, I did. And then I didn't. And now I'm sort of agnostic about it. So it seems super obvious that she killed her husband based on the documentary. That's just kind of the point. But like all this extra stuff came out later about he was disappearing all the time. So to add that into the will wasn't so shady. Stuff like that. I'm not really sure now. Also, keep in mind, it really feels like this documentary was made to like give Joe Exotic this like wholesome, likable slant.
Totally.
And they really there's a fairly strong narrative about who is a protagonist here, who's an antagonist.
Yeah, I feel like the lesson I've learned from Tiger King is that if you like watched it and found it funny and entertaining, like definitely I think it's worth like a second watch through. Like I actually watched it a second time after we did.
I didn't.
And like going back and reading some of the stuff online from people who were involved, because there's a lot that like isn't shown in the documentary that I think is important when we talk about it in like this pop culture context.
It feels more like a dramatic story they found in a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And they just sort of dumped it out on us.
So the next thing that we spent a lot of time watching in quarantine is Workaholics.
Nice.
Fresh.
You gotta
go
be fresh.
Also a show that you introduced to me that I had never watched before.
Yep. It's how we all want to do office jobs.
Totally. What I love about Workaholics is just like the overall chaos that is going on at all times. Like, the first one that comes to mind that we talk about a lot is when Blake wakes up on the roof. And the other guy like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know.
He does it. My favorite thing is it's super quiet. They just wake up. First of all, they chill on their roof all the time. So they're up on their roof. They wake up on their roof, 2 out of 3 of them, and Blake's across the street on the neighbor's roof. And he goes, and they yell, they're like, what are you doing on the roof? And he just goes, But yeah, no, it is calamity. And I love how every episode ramps up to oblivion. Like, it always starts with, like, some idea. And then by the end, they're, like, robbing a pickup truck bed worth of beer, which is a real episode, worth of beer, where they have to jump off the roof into it. Something I really want to point out is although these 3 are incredibly unhealthy to themselves, they have this incredibly healthy 3-way male-friend relationship.
Yes.
And it's such a nice thing to see. And it's a nice thing to see because they're also still, like, nuts bros. But they're just so, like, there for each other. Yeah, they love each other.
And also the fact that they're all friends in real life and, like, write the show together and act in the show together. Yeah. I always find that to be, like, that's one thing that like translates really well on screen.
Yeah, it's like real chemistry.
Authenticity.
Real actors' chemistry, yeah.
So next we have one that I have been incredibly excited to talk about, and I know you have been very excited to talk about, and that is The Office.
So I, like you, was late to the game, and I had people hounding me and that I should really watch it, and like a couple years ago I just finally decided to just go for it and make it the only thing I watched. And that's kind of what we've almost done, is like it becomes now the core thing that we watch. I fully have accepted the hype, I'm part of the Office gang, I'm all about it, but like, what do you think?
So I think we've only made it to like season 7 so far. We're like going into season 8. So I'm not totally done watching it for the first time, but it is my first time watching The Office, and I have been surprisingly pleased.
Surprised?
It's not as if like I ever thought that I wouldn't like The Office, but I just never had the drive to watch it until
Sure.
you were like, we're gonna watch The Office.
That's how I felt. I get that.
Mm-hmm. But it is so funny. Like, some of the laughs that I have from this show are just like completely uncontrolled and unexpected. Like,
Yeah,
I really love the writing and the acting and the characters and the cast. And it's so funny because, like, even though I have, like, never tried The Office before or anything, I've come across a lot of Office clips and whatnot online. And I watch them because I know The Office is supposed to be funny. But it's great that, like, we will pass them and I'll be like, I know that! I've seen this scene!
It's such a joy for me, too, to, like, get to, like, watch it through your, like, innocent eyes that doesn't know all about it yet.
And I firmly believe that, like, I prefer watching The Office with you way more than I like watching it on my own, because you always, like, have, like, super fun like
facts.
Fun facts! Anything else you want to add about Doffice?
Doffice.
Doffice!
It's also fun to say Doffice.
You call it Doffice.
Which is a shortening of The Office.
The Office.
The Office, and then just Doffice. Why use many words when few words do trick? Oh my god, there's so much more to go. You haven't even...
Nonetheless, I'm very happy that we've spent most of quarantine watching The Office, and I am very excited to continue.
Next on our list is Inglourious Basterds, which is a Quentin Tarantino film, and it's one of my favorites. It's never bad if it's on for me. It's always so gripping and so powerful, and, like, it's genuinely, to me, one of those perfect films. Every scene is just so perfect, but I'm overhyping. What did you think?
I also didn't know what to expect going into that one.
Yeah,
It was really funny and clever and, like, well-written and well-filmed.
Yeah. There's a real mastery of the art of mood in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my favorite, and I'm not really giving anything away, the opening scene, there's a very, very key moment in the opening scene where the sense of safety and security and okayness that you start with shifts in, like, a heartbeat. I showed it to you. I remember going, like, wait, look at his eyes. Like, look when it changed. My favorite character is Brad Pitt's playing of Lieutenant Aldo Rain from Maynardville, Tennessee. There to lead the bastards against the Nazi regime. It's just a really, really, really well put together film, and everybody should see it.
So the next thing that we watched is Spirited Away. I love Studio Ghibli films. I only really started watching them in, I think, 2018 is when Natalia first introduced them to me.
Cool.
But I have been slowly making my way through and, like, rewatching my favorites because I'm a big rewatcher. And Jake has never seen a Studio Ghibli film.
No, and I get it. I understood the hype. I appreciate it. I saw a lot of the artwork before I've seen the films, and I just, like, I knew all the trusted people in my life told me to watch it, and so that was just such a great experience. Yeah, it's incredible. I get it. I get why they have the name they do. They earned it.
Yeah, Spirited Away is definitely, like, a great one to recommend to people who haven't seen any Studio Ghibli films before, and it's definitely one of my favorites. I love the artwork.
Beautiful.
Beautiful
Absolutely
soundtrack.
gorgeous.
The music is stunning.
Yeah, yes.
And the story is so fun. It just has, like, this feel-good atmosphere, also balanced with some, like, unsettling horror, like, really scary situations that Chihiro gets herself into. The thing about Spirited Away, though, is that we haven't watched the last 10 minutes.
No, it's 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes.
It's the last 5 or so. Maybe.
I have seen the rest of Spirited Away multiple times, but
I'm embarrassed to put this in this video. We fell asleep with, like, 20 minutes to go, I think. And then we rewatched it, and something else happened with the last, like, 5 or so minutes.
I feel like the answer is we watch we get ourselves in the mood for another Studio Ghibli film, and we just watch the first 5 minutes and then go into the next one.
That's super duper smart. Yeah. So this is one we both were really excited to watch prior to quarantine, which is Maniac. Yeah, I can't talk about one of these things without the other.
So Maniac is, like, a kind of, like, futuristic,
like, psycho thriller concept.
And it's like these people take this, like, test pill, and so, like, it takes the trial participants into, like, different dreams and depths of their psyche and whatnot. And
a little bit like an Inception kind of, going under, but for the sake of, like, memory erasure, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Fun, quirky thing about this that probably got your attention and mine too is that it was filmed in our hometown.
Yeah, it was filmed in
Partially.
Oceanside. One episode particularly. And I actually remember, I wasn't there at the set when they were filming, but I definitely remember driving past it, like, on the days that they were shooting.
I missed
so
that.
I had seen, like, them changing, like, all these shops and whatnot that I've grown up around to the movie set and whatnot. So cool. And, like, at night, it was, like, lit up super light.
To be, like, day.
Yeah, so it was really cool.
Next on our list is Wild Wild West, which is a 90s or 2000s, I think 90s hit with Will Smith. And it plays, if you're a steampunk fan, if you like things that are steampunk or steam driven and cool and brass and gears, then you got to check this movie out.
I gotta be honest, Jake, I've been hiding this from you. I totally fell asleep during the movie, and I don't remember a single thing.
Oh, you didn't even see. We can't talk about it. You didn't watch it.
I'm so sorry. I want to watch it again. I was just hoping that I would watch it and not tell you.
This is okay. I freaking love this movie. I'll totally watch this again.
We also watched...
Wait, I didn't get to talk about Wild Wild West.
So, something else that we watched was Bonding.
Oh, that was so good.
Bonding is really fun. It's
Mistress
like
May.
15-minute episodes.
Yep.
8 episodes. And it's all about like a dominatrix and her gay assistant.
Yep. Who then like totally adapts to this badass dominatrix lifestyle too. It's just such a it's wholesome in a way.
Totally. There's something so wholesome about it in like all the sexual content.
And within the sexual content, it's very like refreshingly humanizing and real, and like yeah, people like things and they can all be part of this story just the same, and they're not just basement dwellers and hiding from the society, you know.
It's interesting because I do know that when it first came out, it did get a lot of backlash from maybe like certain sex workers, but I also know that it was based off of the writer director's experiences, as he like apparently was like an assistant to someone like this and was like a comedian in college.
Oh my god.
So it's like partially based off of his own experiences
inspired
as well.
by true events, sort of.
Yeah. I watched Bonding with my friend Atiya a couple of like months or like a year ago or something, and it just seemed like a fun, quirky thing to watch, and we really enjoyed it. So next on our list is a favorite of mine, and that is a Harry Potter musical.
So good.
So I had watched a Harry Potter musical back in like 2011, and I was a huge Star Kid fan for many, many years. So Harry Potter musical is a parody of Harry Potter. That was written by a like small theater group in Michigan. It's totally original, not affiliated with Harry Potter in any way. So they kind of combine like different books together in each of the 3 like full-length 3-hour musicals. Like this is they did not come to play.
It's amazing.
And it's fantastic. I've watched them so many times I cannot remember, and I know all the songs, and I can spew out dialogue like it's my job, and I love it.
It's true. You sang along to all of them beautifully. It was very entertaining.
And it warmed my heart to share it with you. What did you think of a Harry Potter?
I loved it. I get it. I get why you love it.
Good.
It was so good. They're very talented. They're incredibly talented.
So talented.
People. And even writing it and acting, it was just so well done. The music was really great and very tight. Can we talk about the relationship that wait, what's his name?
Ron, Harry, Darren.
But what's his name? I know it's Voldemort.
Quirrell and Voldemort.
Quirrell. Okay.
Yes, the romance between Quirrell and Voldemort is incredible.
So cute.
I love them.
Oh, they like really realize they love each other.
They love each other so much, and we cannot forget about.
Yeah, we still do that.
Yes, I'm very excited to show you a Harry Potter sequel. Which
I
is equally
gotta
good.
watch the sequel. Yeah. Another classic I feel that we went through was 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yes.
Sort of made Steve Carell's career, right? Since we talked about The Office, this was like right at the start, and it's just so good. Another one, Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, who's still like so young and hilarious in it. I hope you've seen it, and if not, it's definitely worth getting out there.
Yeah, another one that I had just kind of like, I never saw it like when I was younger, like a teen or anything, so I never got around to it, but I'm really glad that I can like put that down as like something I've watched and thoroughly enjoyed. It was so funny.
I love when he is about to potentially get laid by the drunk woman with the PT Cruiser.
Oh, yeah, it was so good.
And she drives him home and she's like, let me tell you something. Don't ever be named Dan. Let's get some fucking French toast.
We also watched the Firefest documentary.
If you care about this, it's important to watch both. I would not even say one's better.
I liked the first one, but I also liked the second, and I think it's good to have both perspectives.
They were funded differently, so you hear different sides of the story.
I remember when Firefest went down.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, sitting on my phone and watching, like, the live tweets from these people stranded on this island after being promised a music festival.
The cheese sandwich. I remember seeing...
Sandwich.
That was when I first realized what is going on. I saw a Reddit post, which was probably that tweet screenshotted. Yeah. And it was this is what I got for my $1,000 ticket, is this cheese and lettuce sandwich.
It is just like such an encapsulated, bizarre, and like insane situation.
Yeah.
Again, there's so many levels to it.
I think that it's also like this microcosm, hyper distilled down, concentrated version of like how you can abuse people with money and how you can use opportunity to just wreak havoc. I mean, the people who were sent there and dealt with that or bought their ticket and were lied to. And how about like the people that lived on this poor island? Like, so many of them
truly
are
victims of it. Billy was in it. Even though a lot of times he's like, I can't comment on that. I can't comment on that. He's still involved, and so it was
Billy
like...
McFarlane.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see him be a part of it.
This is one of my all-time favorite classics, Shaun of the Dead.
I really like Shaun of the Dead.
It is directed by Edgar Wright. It's part of the Cornetto trilogy, which are three movies with the same core cast, directed by Edgar Wright, where the ice cream, a cornetto, appears.
It's the common thread.
It's the one thing that appears in all three of them. And they are Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Actually, of the three, Hot Fuzz is my favorite, which we're going to watch. But Shaun of the Dead is the staple that I have a special place in my heart for. Edgar Wright is an absolutely brilliant director, and one of the things he's big on is he doesn't waste a second. He looks at every frame, every scene, and thinks, what could we entertain with this?
Yeah, that's something I really took away from it, is like it was really cleverly written. There's a lot of like intricate parts to it where like everything kind of feels important.
It's super dense.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about it.
But it feels light.
Yes,
so, like,
because it was also really funny.
Yeah, it's not dense in this way like you're like overwhelmed, and this is for everything he's done, but not just Shaun of the Dead. It's dense in that if you watch it again and again, you literally are finding entire other bits and pieces everywhere that you missed. It's very, very clever.
Okay, so next we watched Hamilton.
Oh,
so
when
I cannot believe the first thing you think of with Hamilton is when Porsche. So I have been like a closeted Hamilton fan since 2017. Yes, like, and I use that that is like a very accurate way to describe it. So back when Hamilton first hit the hype in like 2016, 2017, I was like, I don't care about it. Like, I didn't care to listen to it. Everyone's obsessed with it, and maybe some of it was like trying to avoid the hype, but I also just like, it didn't appeal to me. So I had a couple of friends that showed me some songs, and I really liked a couple of songs. Okay. But over the past, 3 years, I have listened to, 5 Hamilton songs on repeat, and I love them so dearly, but I just never watched it. So when it came out, I just, started to really get in this mood. It was I feel like I, really want to watch Hamilton. Yeah. And it was this whole period of, who am I? I have been so outwardly not a Hamilton fan.
This is why
I had this whole realization of, finally admitting to myself, I have been a Hamilton fan all along. So I am literally coming out as a Hamilton fan.
I'm really touched to be. I don't know if you guys should be alone for this. And it was so good. I absolutely love all of it. Every actor, every song. This is a really hard thing to pick favorites from, but
yeah, some of my favorite actors and characters: Aaron Burr.
So good.
Love Eliza. Aaron Burr, sir. Eliza. Angelica.
Thomas Jefferson.
And Peggy. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson and Lafayette are my favorite.
Yep. And then how about when
Jonathan Groff is iconic. He's incredible.
King George.
Yeah, there's so many good moments, and it was just so fun and uplifting and makes you want to dance and sing.
And it's so the concept, at the last second, just before it started, you were like, you had the remote and you were like, oh, by the way, there is no dialogue that isn't song.
Yeah, I found that so unique. I'm sure that there's many other plays like it, but I did not realize. I listened to the whole thing. And I did not realize that it is told through song. It is just song after song after song, and that is how the story is told.
Yeah.
And it was really unique storytelling that I loved.
Yeah, I actually was super intimidated by that when you said it. It always felt a lot to me like you break the reality when you turn and bring the song into stage. When the entire thing was song, there was that was the reality. And it wasn't bothersome. It was incredibly gripping. Yet again, something on the list that I could say, like, I get it. I understand the hype. It makes sense to me now. I'm so glad I actually got to see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to continually rewatch it.
Yeah, we'll put that on a few times.
So another film that I was really excited to share with Jake is Jennifer's Body.
Yo,
I have loved Jennifer's Body since I was, like, a child. Since I was really young. I watched it when it first came out. And I've watched it multiple times over the years. It is just like this classic, like, cult following horror film. It's like a mixture of like horror and like a teen rom-com, and it's great.
Yeah, I heard of it when it came out, and then it just seemed years later, if it ever came up, it just sounded like some C-roll crap that no one would ever want to watch. It feels
like it. You think that until you see it.
But it's awesome. It's so great.
Jennifer's Body is definitely like a big part of my sexual awakening. Like that makeout scene between Amanda Seyfried and Megan Fox, like, I was not ready. I also love the scene when, like, they're about to sacrifice Jennifer, and he's like, wait, I have an idea that's gonna make this way better.
Oh, yeah.
Jenny, I got your number. And it took me so many years to get that reference because I didn't know what that song was until I was much older. So I watched it and I was like, oh, they're just, like, singing a funny song about Jennifer. Wait. And then I finally understood what that song was.
Wait, what is that song?
8675309.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't put this in.
Very interesting, the themes of like women friendship and this like demonic succubus side plot line. It's like, it's bizarre. You can't explain it, but if you haven't seen it, like, it's really worth going back and watching.
It's definitely a good one.
So, I feel like this one is kind of like a wild card compared to some of the other, like, film and TV we've been talking about. But we watched Max Keeble's Big Move.
Yeah. So good. So good.
So good.
Max Keeble's Big Move.
I don't know why. I don't know how this got on our list.
I remember.
You do?
I started singing McGoogle's song. McGoogle's is me name. Me like a swampy bog. It's time to play a game with your favorite Highland frog. Good. And I only learned recently that it's Highland frog, which makes sense. He's from the Highlands. I thought it was Island frog, which made no sense.
No sense.
It's a triumphant piece of overcoming the odds and standing up. Listen, as a kid, I was a little bullied as a kid. I was a very small kid. Max Keeble was very small.
Yeah.
I resonated hardcore with him. And to watch him stand up to his bullies and to the school and to the principal who's going to take down the animal shelter. I stood a whole 6 centimeters taller that day.
Yeah, it's just like a great feel-good, like, middle school, beginning high school movie. Josh Peck is in it, which is great. Josh Peck,
he's a little baby. Robe. He goes by Robe because he always wears a robe.
There's a lot of like iconic scenes from that movie.
Lizzie McGuire's dad is in it.
Yeah.
As dad.
The food fight scene. I wanted a food fight like that for so long.
It's funny. I always wanted a food fight. What would be your main weapon in a food fight? What food would you hope was like in front of you?
I feel like mashed potatoes are always like a great food fight one because you just go everywhere.
That's really smart. You're going for like a shotgun method. Like
yeah,
like it's like a grenade or just potatoes everywhere.
Yeah.
I like that. I would like a foot-long hot dog.
Just one though?
Well, it's a start. First, I'm thinking two, where they're sort of.
Like katanas.
But you're throwing stuff, so I'm thinking more they're good like a throwing axe. Like you see the wiener, we just kind of like.
So I want to also quickly mention, rather than having a huge like season or series that we wanted to watch, I chose one episode that I was like, Jake, you gotta watch this.
Yep.
So many of you know I'm a huge Criminal Minds fan, which I also watched during quarantine, and I watched it so many times, but Jake loves Aubrey Plaza from like Parks and Rec and all the good stuff.
Anything she does, she's great.
So I was like, we have to watch the first episode with Aubrey Plaza in it from Criminal Minds. It's a great episode to watch like without context because you don't really need it.
Nope.
But it's just so intense.
Yeah.
And like the sexual tension and their relationship and their intelligence. It was so good.
So I did have some context. I have seen Criminal Minds. I've seen a couple dozen episodes. It's fantastic. I've been told I look like Matthew Gray Glue.
Yeah, it's so good. The plot of the episode and the writing of it is really well done.
And Aubrey Plaza absolutely slays this layered psychopath. Anything she gets to be crazy a layer deep is just so good.
Oh, we also watched Sinister. We can talk about Sinister really quick.
Ooh, Sinister.
So introduce.
That's your introduction. Sinister. We watched Sinister. I've actually come to really enjoy horror movies in life now, and that was one of the few that sort of started that for me a few years ago. And it really messed me up, man. It really messed me up.
So I had forgotten that I actually watched Sinister like years prior. We talked about this. I forgot that I had watched it, but as we were watching it, I was like, this all looks very familiar. And when I realized I knew the last name, I was like, oh, I watched this whole movie before. I thought I hadn't watched it. It's a really good horror movie. Very unsettling and creepy.
Really disturbing. Really, without giving anything away, there's home movies in it that are deaths.
Yeah, I feel like anything with home movies is like really like creepy.
And they look like legit snuff films. Like I really finished that movie. I was like, did I just watch people die?
So the last show that we officially watched together during quarantine was Euphoria. I love good. Euphoria. I had watched it when it first came out, and then I had watched it again on my own in quarantine. And I was so excited about it, and I was like sending you like clips and photos, like, you're gonna love the show, you have to watch it, that we watched it together like 2 weeks after I finished.
Well, that's what did it. I had been sold on it by like coworkers and friends before, and I was told by a couple of close friends how specifically I would really like this person and this, dialogue and this part of it and whatever. I was really, really sold, and then you sending me clips, something about it I was like, okay, I have to see this.
Yeah, what did you like about Euphoria?
Oh my god, so much. The acting's fantastic. The character development is incredible. I love Jules. I love Rue. I feel their pain a lot. I feel their struggles with personal satisfaction and desire versus like long-term goals and greater goods. And incredible cinematography. I'm a huge...
The color grading, the lighting,
camera work,
stunning,
absolutely fantastic. There's a number of shows that I've been sold on by almost that alone, and that was
Also, the music, the soundtrack and score is gorgeous, and it really fits the show. My name. And also like the fashion and the style of it.
Costume design is
it's like a really specific show. Like everything that goes into it like screams Euphoria.
Yeah, it has this very unique thumbprint now that you can pick out anything and go, that's from Euphoria, that's for Euphoria.
Yeah, I do like the way that it like approaches different topics that are very relevant to teens, like sex and drugs and relationships and gender identity, and a lot of ones that are like taboo and people don't want to show on TV to kids. I've really liked the way that it challenges those like standards of like how we're allowed to talk about these issues for teens versus how they actually manifest in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and although I agree that there's some glamorization of difficult things, I think that the overall takeaway is the real gravity of the pros and cons of such decisions, you know. I don't think they do anything to hide the euphoria that comes from short-sighted bad decisions like drugs and sex and rock and roll. It's heavy. I feel like the way I was describing as we were watching this, I feel like I had this euphoria knot in my chest, somewhere between like my throat and my stomach. All of this was just in this knot, and with every scene and every episode, it would just get tighter and never ever get released. And then at the end, it just stayed knotted and we walked away. That was the show. Like, it's a lot. It felt like drugs. Like,
at the end of every episode, you would just have this.
Yeah, and it got to a point where we were going in, and I was like, all right, let's do this. It's fine.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's like, go ahead. Like, you're at the doctor's. Like, just do it. I'm not looking.
Totally.
But we wanted it so bad.
Yeah, it's so good. I can't wait for
good.
season 2. I'm really excited.
Pumped.
So that is what we watched in quarantine. Thank you so much, Jake, for chatting about all this TV and movies with me.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely do not forget to download your free trial of Magellan in the description below and check out some really cool documentaries. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye.
Boom. I saw Sex Education.
So good. So good. That was one of the ones that I recommended.
It was. Right up there with Euphoria.